Hey, Kelly Carroll here. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel this week and watching today's video. I actually think you're really going to get a kick out of today's video. It's something, I'm going to try to describe something to you all that you might not already know about, or maybe you heard of and just don't completely understand. And I'm going to kind of describe what it means, and I'm going to describe how it pertains to my life. And right now in this video is the only time you're going to see me talking. The rest is you're gonna be seeing me witness who I am as a human being. Let's get started. You all may have heard of the word archetypes or archetypes of the personality, but what really does that mean? Every person can have hundreds of archetypes that define who they are as an individual, but it comes down to about 12 major archetypes in every person that formulates their personality. And to discover these archetypes, it takes a lot of soul searching and a lot of reading. Thankfully, there is a book. It's called Sacred Contracts by Caroline Myss. And you don't have to read all of it, but right in the back, she lists out so many archetypes that you can feel you resonate with, what they mean, what their shadow side is, what their light side is. And as you grow to understand what all these different archetypes are, or could be for you, you start to realize how they've defined and molded your life and developed who you are today. And then you can go backwards in the book and start reading from the beginning how they affect you differently, what everything means, where it falls in the timeline of your development, if it happened earlier in your life, if it happened later. But for today, I'm going to use myself as an example, and I'm going to introduce you all to the person that I really am. Every single thing that defines me, the things I say, the moves I make, what I believe in, what I want to do later, what I'm doing right now, I have on a chart because I took the time to realize what my archetypes were, to study these. And I have an awesome group of friends in Florida who are really in touch with the mind, body, and spirit. And they really help me put on a wheel all these things that formulate who I am. And I don't have questions anymore. Every day I wake up and I look at this wheel and I start to realize this is really me. This is why I said that yesterday. This is why I have this feeling. This is when I feel guilt. This is when I feel homesick. This is how I can feel better. This is why I want to be this when I grow up. This is why I'm working this career. It's just the 12 major archetypes really formulate how to become your highest potential and just totally understand the person you are. Now, we can never completely master ourselves. That's a fact. Our brain is so complex, how can we ever completely get to know it? But this is a crazy cool start, and I'm going to show you all my journey today. So, hi, my name's Kelly Carroll, and you're going to get to know me very personally in about 3, 2, 1.
Sure of it?
That was fun, Kelly.
Nice.
See you later.
Great.
That's it.
I'll interpret this in my sleep.
What the hell does this mean?
Use your visionary. Just figure it out.
She's
First 3 houses are kind of like, we call them your 3D world. Like, you're really grounded. What makes you feel really safe and secure here on Earth. Your non-spiritual houses.
Why don't you give her a pen, because she's a scribe and probably wants to write some of this down, right?
So that's the
You have the
spiritual,
paper
you said?
and
No, it's the non-spiritual. It's more of like the material. Okay?
Okay.
So, the first one is your victim, which means this. Your ego house, your first house, so
Yeah.
on the inside of that circle you'll see it says ego, personality.
Yeah.
So that's what's going to make you feel the most grounded and the most secure, right?
Okay.
So it's interesting. So you have what's called the 4 major archetypes. We all have them. Victim, prostitute, saboteur, and a child.
Mm-hmm.
So one of your majors falls in your ego.
Okay.
Which means this, you're going to think what makes you feel grounded is feeling like a victim. And a victim is all about, like, think about as a child, this is why we all have it. As a baby, we all have to cry and whine in order to get attention.
Right.
So part of you, when you're in your ego, when you're not being like a servant and you're not clear, you're going to want to cry and whine or talk about something to get attention. But that's going to destroy your connection. You're not going to feel secure here on this planet. You're going to feel like, I don't feel connected to anyone or anything. So it's about like getting out of your ego, really, and getting to the light side of this. which is kind of like realizing that you are independent. You don't need anyone else to hear you. You hear yourself, and you're strong in yourself.
Right.
And that
The more
life
you do
happens
that-
for you instead of to you.
Mm-hmm.
So the more you're grounded in like kind of the opposite, we have a different word for victim. You can either use the word champion or conqueror. The more you embody that archetype, where it's not about like complaining or blaming, the more you're actually going to feel really connected here.
Yeah,
Okay?
I feel that, like, and that's something I try to work on a lot more too, is like feeling that champion.
Yeah.
Because like my least favorite archetype in people is the victim.
Yeah.
So I try really, really hard to like master that side of me and be like, it is happening for me, not to me.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm so surprised to see it there. I'm like,
But it means you worked on it. You've had a lot of lessons in it, so
Yeah.
you can see it in
Yeah.
other people really clearly,
Usually
so
the-
it tends to trigger you.
The later ones are the ones that you have your big lessons and they take a long time for you to see them. So you might have already seen this one a lot. You might, in your younger age, you could see it a lot,
You
Okay.
feel
and
a
then
lot
you've really
of it.
mastered it because of it. Okay.
sweet. Okay.
Second one is what your life values. So your life value is your second, and your third one go hand in hand. Your life value is like what you value in life. So what you value is transformation.
Yeah.
Taking something at its base value and turning it to its highest potential. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How you express that is your queen.
That makes so much sense because you were talking about like your mother energy. You were like, I want to help people, transform them. It's like your alchemist and your queen are very intertwined with where they're at. So you're transforming people through being like a leader and this regal, like powerful, divine woman.
Yeah.
That
That's
make sense?
pretty cool. Yeah, I resonate with that.
So these first three are your lower houses. That's like what makes you feel really connected here. So essentially, you're a conqueror, you're a queen, you have authority. But remember, the shadow side of a queen is somebody who wants people to do their bidding for them, versus the light
Right.
side is like, wow, I'm here to serve my people
Yes.
and
yeah.
transform. So keep this in mind. So that's who you are in this planet. Like that's how you appear to people.
Okay.
You appear very regal and very like a conqueror.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
The next couple houses are your energy houses. This is what gets your energy going. Okay?
Okay.
The most important thing, your home, is like being in your home, but also, hey, this is your home, your body. Okay?
Right.
So it's like, think about this is what starts your energy, this is how you start to move it into a more creative and prosperous direction. This is what you do for a living. You have two majors in this part of your life too.
Yeah.
Which means the majors are what you really have to focus on more than anything. You got to be careful of them, okay? So your magical child is what gets your energy spinning. The more innocent, the more fun, the more like positive, and you think like, wow, like what's it say here for the light attribute? Can you read that?
Seeing the potential for sacred beauty in all things, the belief that everything is possible.
So when you do that, your energy starts to stir up. So every day
Yeah.
you wake up, your job is to be a magical child.
Mhm.
If you ever feel like your energy is off, do something that makes you feel like a kid again. Okay? Because that's
Okay.
going to stir up your energy. If you don't do that, you're going to become a saboteur. The saboteur is all about self-worth. You're not going to feel worthy. So if you don't get into this, you're going to feel... I just want to kind of put you down this pathway of what could happen. It's like, wow, I do not feel worthy of success. I do not feel worthy of good fortune. This is also like boyfriend, girlfriend, like that kind of lover
Yeah.
as well. I don't feel worthy of that. And as a result of that, that energy is going to carry over and you're going to prostitute yourself. You're going to sell out for security. And it's in your occupation and your health. So you're going to sell out your health and what you do for a living. You're going to take the jobs that not necessarily like what your heart rings true for. You're going to take the ones that, well, it's a job, I get paid for it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like really important if you start in this energy and like, wow, everything works out. Like, you know what comes to mind is Candace. We knew this girl who was like pretty much completely broke, and she was just like a magical child. She's like, man, it's all gonna work out. And then she got offered this like crazy ass deal for like, she was like a baker. She made these things called cake pops, and now she's like famous and like a probably a millionaire because of these things.
That's
you know?
crazy.
You guys knew her? The cake
Yeah,
pop
yeah.
I
person?
love cake
Yeah.
pops.
You guys know cake pops?
Yeah, I know cake
Oh.
pops. Are you kidding me? Starbucks. freaking sells
Starbucks
them.
has them.
Yeah, she's a hardcore magical child.
Wow.
She's just like, yeah, it's gonna work out. She was like, she didn't listen to what everyone told her. She just did what seemed the most magical and fun, and she just knew it was always gonna work out.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like when you start in that energy, that eliminates your saboteur. You start to feel worthy, and you start to love yourself. this little saboteur you gotta watch out for. The saboteur is this little thing inside of you that is what talks you, like, it's the negative voice inside your head.
Right.
And it's not trying to be, it's just trying to protect you.
Mm-hmm.
So before, in the past, you may have, like, felt creative or had good fortune and something happened to you.
Mm-hmm.
And now that little voice in your head starts to try to protect you from that happening. Like, maybe you were, like, being creative and a teacher yelled at you or something.
Right.
So then you feel this scolding for being creative,
Yeah.
right? So this little voice is like, hey, don't be too creative. You need to protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You need to recognize that voice and just say, hey, no, like, I deserve to be creative. It's awesome when I'm creative. I'm a magical child. This is my job.
Right.
Okay? And then when you do that, your energy is going to be so high, you no longer prostitute yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's this simple with the prostitute. Tune in, check in. If it seems enthusiastic and fun, do it. If it doesn't, and you're like, well, I guess I should do this.
Mm-hmm.
That's always
Even
the process.
even helping
Speaking
somebody,
you should.
jobs you take, or like people that you're with.
Yeah.
Next 3 houses are your relationships. Relationships to others, how you use their resources, and finally, who you are spiritually. So the dilettante, right, in relationships, what does this say? Delights in the arts without having to be a professional, alerts you to danger of becoming superficial in your pursuits. So you have an extra gift of, like, with relationships, you'll have a little warning sign if you have superficial relationships versus deep, meaningful relationships. You probably are somebody. It's funny
That's
that
crazy.
It's funny you didn't pick networker, because this is why you
Yeah,
probably felt
that makes
networker.
sense.
It's like you're a dilettante in relationships, which means you probably have you delight in them. You love people. You're around lots of people all the time.
And you probably can read the energy of people a lot
Yeah,
better than
that's something I have like a lot of pride in myself for, is
Mm-hmm.
I read energy and intention really, really well.
Mhm.
And like all of my relationships I've ever had have been like very short over the span of just a few months, because from the beginning I can see something like
tell.
evolving, and then it does, and then I stop.
Mhm.
And even with people that I'm not in an intimate relationship with, I can see like kind of what their intentions are, and I'm just kind of a reader of, I don't know. Yeah.
So you have to be careful. The dilettante too, the shadow side is only doing surface level things and getting like burnt out. So with
Yeah.
relationships, you got to catch yourself and make sure you're not the one being like, nah, I don't want to do this anymore, and just like bailing.
Which is your saboteur.
Which is exactly.
Yeah.
If you don't
Yes.
feel worthy of like deep, meaningful love, you'll be like, oh no, I can't do this. I'm a
You'll
dilettante.
sabotage it and just run away to the next one, because it's
Yeah.
like, oh, there's always something new and exciting.
Right.
It's dilettante energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you do in relationships? What do you do with other people's time, money, energy? You're a nun, which if you read the light aspect of that, it's selfless devotion and single-minded dedication to spirit. So to the way and again, this is your wheel, so at the end, this is going to grow, and you put this on your refrigerator, look at this
Yeah.
every day. The way I take that is like you have a gift with people to give them like your undivided attention, and like you see their spirit more than most people. And that's probably maybe that intuitive thing that you have too. So you can look at somebody, you can read their spirit, and you can be so single-minded with them, hold really amazing, like, nun-like space for them. Think about what a nun would do for somebody.
Right.
You know, that's kind of your gift. Okay?
Yeah.
And then finally, like, your visionary is in your spirituality, which is your connection to God. The light aspect here says capacity to envision what is not yet conceivable to others, willingness to proclaim a vision without regard for personal gain. That's kind of how you relate to God the most, or your connection to God. So almost like the visions that you're getting, maybe like when you have them, seeing like, wow, these are from God, almost like a prophet in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's one way to interpret that. You might have your own interpretation of that. You
Yeah.
might see God as a visionary, seeing everything.
I feel like this is probably connected to your prostitute and saboteur a lot too, because you probably get a lot of downloads. But if you're not feeling like worthy and confident in yourself, then you'll just sell out and be like, nah, it's not worth it. It's not,
Yes,
I don't deserve
yep.
that. Whereas when you're principled with it and you feel worthy of those visions, you're going to have a very strong connection to the divine. And it's going to, like, the messages are going to keep coming, keep building.
Yeah.
And then all the rest of this is going to flow.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Then the last 3, who you really are, your spirit. Your highest potential is your shapeshifter. It says skill at navigating through different levels of consciousness, ability to see the potential in everything. It goes so well with your magical child, with
And your
your
alchemist,
visionary,
yeah.
with your alchemist,
Yeah.
with your queen. It's like this is really who you are. You're dilettante. It's like you can embody anything. You can be whatever people need you to be. You know? Now I know you want to be an actress and like you have a really good card for that, but it's like your real spiritual work is like so much bigger than that.
Right.
It's like what you're already doing. And just realize that you're already doing your work. Like your real work is to be here for people, and what we're talking about is communicate with people, maybe even write down and jot down this stuff so that you can be such a good piece of authority for them, like a safe haven for them, somebody that people can rely on, and that you're literally alchemizing the whole time.
And this makes a ton of sense why you weren't sure about like martyr, because if you're not tuned into the spiritual connection to visionary and you're selling out, you're gonna just do whatever anybody wants you to do, and you're gonna kill yourself for it, because your shapeshifter is like, oh, whatever you need, I'll just, get rid of my personality for you, as opposed to connecting to the divine, seeing the vision, and being like, this is what this person's spirit needs.
Right.
And being very principled with that, then it's going to charge you up. You're not going to feel like a martyr. You're going to feel like, wow, I'm a queen.
So I want you to feel how these cards all connect so far. If you don't feel worthy, you sabotage your creativity and prosperity. What you end up doing is you sell out, meaning like you probably take roles you're not supposed to be on. You don't listen to your visions and work with who you're supposed to be working with. You start like working with people, dating people, having friends with people that you're not supposed to be with, and then you feel like a victim to it, which is your martyr. Make sense? So it all starts with, hey, getting your magical child going. Say, man, I am worthy for all of this awesome stuff. Like God has a vision for me, and I'm going to tune into those visions. I'm going to stay true to my heart and not sell out. I'm only going to work with people I'm supposed to work with.
And it's owning that queen energy of like, I am powerful and regal, and I don't deserve to be like walked all over or lose myself for somebody else. It's like remembering your identity through all of this too.
The 11th house is how you relate to the world. So like what your spirit has come here to do, and it's a communicator. So it makes sense that you want to be like an actress, because it's like such a big stage of communication.
Right.
But it's like, don't always just hold that vision as well. But if that's a vision that you've had that's not from the ego or the lower part, if that's a higher vision, stay with it. But it's like you are here to communicate a very big message to people. The shadow attribute is altering facts or plagiarizing other works, which is so interesting, which to me means this. When you're being unconscious and you're not in your spiritual self, what you're going to be doing is shape-shifting the wrong way. Read the shadow of this.
Yeah.
Can you read that? I can't read it.
Which is kind of like acting. It's like copying somebody else's role as
Right.
opposed to being your own.
Projecting any image that serves your personal agenda in the moment. That's crazy.
So it's like you start to, and see how that goes with your prostitute. If it's about security or money or fame and fortune, all that stuff, this is all shadow. Your spirit is going to literally shrink up.
Yeah.
Right? It has to be about a bigger cause for you. It has to be really about, I think, a lot of that queen energy, championing people, like just being there for people and being such a cool support for people. Does it make sense?
Yeah. That's
This is
awesome.
you.
This is so cool.
I like how you're doing this to bring out your journaling to yourself is such a cool thing for you to do.
Yeah.
Maybe like even journaling to God, writing notes.
I do.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it keeps it on the light attribute and keeps it conscious of you. It's cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Thanks for guiding me through that.
Yeah.
I feel
yeah.
I feel very connected to it. Like it all feels like me,
Yeah.
Like there's nothing I questioned in this just now. That's crazy.
Awesome.
Cool. It gives you like a really good map of your life.
Yeah.
You can tell when you're off and when you're on,
And it's really fun to refer back to when you're struggling with something. You can check in, especially with the 4 main ones where you're
Right.
like, wow, I feel like I'm seeing a victim in so many people, or I'm struggling with selling out or whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
helps the rest of these flow.